But actually, boys, WillE made a new video. It's titled, "Surely Season of Mastery has less bots than Classic." Right? Okay. Alright, we'll watch this video, boys. We'll see what this is all about. I really like I like WillE's videos. He makes some really good informational videos, especially about MMOs. So we'll watch this real fast, boys, and then we'll see what he's gonna talk about here, okay? I feel like the botting issue is very much a continued problem that just haven't stopped at all yet. Like, I don't know. I mean, I do understand why they're not really doing anything about it, I guess, because, you know, they earn money from the subscription, but it's just so bad for the game, man. It's just... Let's see what he's gonna say, though.
Here. So we have had a good few months since Season of Mastery has kicked off, and the players have had the time to experience leveling and gradually getting onto endgame. So is Season of Mastery doing any better or any worse than Classic was for around this point in time in terms of real money trading, gold farming, and botting? Well, yes, it's overall being the key word, doing better. Very controversial thing to say, because you better believe that they still exist. In fact, we've a fair amount of footage to look over here, but many of the changes that Blizzard made prior to the season launching...
Are these like bots just stealthing around so they don't get caught or something like that? But I mean, I do think that bots are a lot less prevalent since like Classic WoW, but they're definitely still there, that's for sure.
Have impacted them to a large degree, you know? And there will always be some degree of automation going on whatever they do. That's simply the case with every single online game I've ever seen. Not to excuse poor management of the game or them existing, but oh man, it was not just worse in Classic, it was way worse than this, and players felt the effect of it to a much greater degree as well. In fact, just for the sake of
dude, he found 4 bots right here.
Comparison, I went back to look at some of the old videos that I recorded early on in Classic when bots were starting to really ramp up, and the difference is frankly huge. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is with Classic, botters had the entire duration of the game to get everything working on their end as well as possible. So when Season of Mastery rolled around, they already had all that tech in place, so they should have been able to just fire it off. Even still, it has been mitigated quite a bit, which is good to see. At this point in time, during Classic, you would have been lucky to see a...
Oh my god, I remember this. Thank god I played a rogue in Classic though, so I didn't have to worry about like buying flasks and stuff like that. But like if you're a mage and something like that and you want a pump or a warlock, 240 gold for a Black Lotus? I know it's supposed to be rare, but man, this is like ridiculous, dude. This is like, it's Sulp. I know this guy. This is ridiculous.
Black Lotus for under 200 gold. In Season of Mastery, for me at least, they're around 50 gold. I don't imagine that price is going to fluctuate too much across the big
50
servers.
gold is fair,
with more spawns of the top herbs in the high level zones on top of Black Lotus dropping from them, as the herbing system works in TBC, and Black Lotus can actually drop from Black Lotus themselves. This has caused the price to come down massively, both in and out of game. In April 2020, 10 Black Lotus would have set you back over $100.
When you put it on like that, that is so ridiculous. Do you guys actually think people bought this, like bought Lotuses for money? I mean, maybe there is some dad gamer or like some oiler that's just like, he literally just doesn't care and he just wants the Lotuses, so he's just gonna spend like $60 on 5 Lotuses. Because it is 5 weeks worth of rating, right? Because you use 1 per day, right? That's so crazy to me. Like for me, I feel like a lot of the things that makes like a game kind of fun and enjoyable is the fact that you can like invest your time into the game and you can sort of grow the character within that game, regardless of what game that is. If it's WoW, Path of Exile, League of Legends, Genshin Impact, whatever it is, right? Like okay, maybe not the last one because that one is like literally a gacha game or like gacha game, but you get my point, right? It's just about investing time outside your real life into something, right? So you're separating yourself from the real life. But yeah, it's just different, I guess.
Nowadays, it's much less than that, or so I've heard. You know what else we have going for us at the moment? Well, at the moment at least, no transfers in terms of battling, gold, selling, and buying.
But you play 5 hours per day. Some people have like 3 hours a week. I mean, yeah, but like, why would you? I get that, but it's like, I mean, there was also a time where I didn't have as much time to play as I do now, right? But then again, even if I still had that little time to play, I wouldn't want to spend real life money to gain something that has like no real merit in the game, right? And I don't think MMOs are really for people that has. I mean, maybe. I mean, you could play an MMO like 3 days a week or like three hours per week and be fine, right? But it will be a very slow process, right? I think that point you're making, Pyro, is a very big point why MMOs are not as popular anymore. Because people just want to get home, you know, as you say, have like an hour or two maybe to play a game, boot up a game of League of Legends, you know, drop in Tilted Tower in Fortnite, or like, you know, something like that where you can just get in, get out really fast and move on with it, right? MMOs are all about the investment, which is like not as popular these days. 3 wives, 10 kids, and 4 jobs, no time. But no, it is true though, right? It is very much like a time investment in MMOs, and I think that's a big reason why it's not as popular anymore to play MMOs as it was, right? Because people are changing, and people just want to get in, play a few hours, and then log out again. And MMOs just require so much more time. You know, it's a good and a bad thing.
Not having the ability to quickly hop between low population and high population is extremely beneficial. Players back in Classic would load upon materials or just herb endlessly on low population servers via automation, pay out the $25 transfer fee to a bigger server with a bigger market, and then offload via real money trading or through the auction house. Again, looking back to April 2020, organized farmers used to plant, quite literally, level 1 warrior scouts on Lotus spawn locations on the low population servers, so that as soon as one of them ever popped up, they could have a herber run over there in absolute...
That is crazy. That is only in Burning Stebbies. And they're all sitting on like a spawn.
Absolutely no time at all. And Blizzard did actually address this during Classic, making it so you needed the herbalism level to see them whilst being dead. But instead, people just started to level hunters, spamming their eagle eye macros on each...
I remember that. I remember you could go to Silithus and you could literally see like 3-4 hunters just eagle-eyeing all over the place. The upside of is that MMOs have a feeling of accomplishment and a progression that you can see. Yeah, I mean, I really agree with you. I think the fact that you have to invest so much time into an MMO is the best part about it, but it's also the worst, right? Because the time investment can feel really awesome and really cool and seeing your character progress, but it's also a lot of people just don't have the time for that, and a lot of people don't have... You know, don't want to put in the effort for that. So that's why a lot of other type of games are more popular now, where you don't have to spend six days /play to even get max level before you can start competing with people, right? It's people just want to go in and then pump and then get out, right? That's just how it is. A lot of people, at least. That's why like MMOs are a little bit of a dwindling genre, right?
Born to work out their locations instead, so it was only really a very short-term fix. On top of that, we had multi-boxes of 1 druid, 1 priest, 3 mages. Who remembers those who were sitting in strat undead all day, every day, to the point where righteous orbs were getting towards vendor price. This was also similar in Sunken Temple, where they were just chain farming the place for leatherworking as well as the drop.
Look at that, dude. Some people aren't gaming about it, doesn't have a monopoly on computer games anymore. No, it's not just WoW, fun facts. It's also just MMOs. They're just not. It's just not a popular genre anymore. It used to be an extremely popular genre, but it's not as much anymore. Not that it's a dead genre, but you know, it's definitely less things, right? Like, yeah, exactly. If you have 2 hours per day to play a game or like to play WoW, it would take you like a year to hit level 60 almost, right? Or you could just go in and drop some 360s in Fortnite. So it's like that, right?
Drops that you could get in there. This was something that was not addressed for absolutely ages until Blizzard straight up banned multi-boxing, which was something that targeted automation on both the retail version of the game as well as Classic by making the software solutions against the rules, and then eventually they also made hardware solutions against the rules. You can still multi-box if you're tabbing between characters, but anything that multiplies what you're doing will get you banned. We had the road.
To be honest, people still play 5 hours a day on games. They just want to play. I mean, yeah, I get that. It's yeah. I mean, a lot of people are not as interested in MMOs as much anymore. But I'm just trying to put myself into the perspective of like if I was a dad gamer, literal dad gamer. I had a job. I worked from like 8 to 5 every day. I had kids in school, and I came home and I maybe had like an hour to play per day. I wouldn't really want to invest time into an MMO where it would literally take me a year to get anything out of it. I would rather just like play a quick game of League or whatever game, you know, whatever, something like that, right? Or like play a story game or something like that like you can slowly progress in. It's a different situation, I guess. So yeah, let's keep watching the video though.
Rogue bots, pickpocketing, and Blackrock depths. From what I can tell, this has been completely eradicated on Seasonal Mastery now.
Yeah,
I don't know why
that.
this hasn't been ported over to TBC as well. I'd assume they exist there to some extent still, or maybe there are just more lucrative farms that they can go after. Either way, no other instance with that volume of high-level humanoid mobs comes to mind where they could easily run around and do a pickpocketing loop. On top of that, loot has been adjusted in Zul'Farrak to stop farming in there, bots in there, as well as just people gold farming in there as general, from it being a bit too good for it being instanced. So overall, yeah, it's definitely a number of improvements. I agree it's a shame that it's taken this long. I too would like to have a game with absolutely zero bots, zero automation, but no online competitive game is going to be totally free of this kind of activity.
Yeah, it's impossible to get like a game where there's like literally zero, right? But it's definitely a lot less prevalent than it was in Classic now. Like it's a lot less noticeable how many bots there are. You still see bots out in the world, don't get me wrong, but it's not as much, right? I fell out of love with WoW several months ago, but then I started watching your streams and I think I might give it another go. Thanks for that. I mean, if you like it, dude, that's awesome. You know, if you enjoy the game and have fun with it, I'm glad to hear that. I think WoW is one of those games where like, if you used to play it back when you were a kid or younger or whatever, you can always sort of get back to it and play a little bit, right? It's kind of sticks with you a little bit, that game. So yeah. Goose is a deadbeat dad? I'm not really. I'm a dad gamer, kids in bed at 7 p.m. I still play till 11 p.m. and I still find love WoW and I love time to progress at night. That's awesome. I mean, if you like doing it, that's awesome, right?
Bots, wall hacks, auto interrupters, gear swapping scripts, or buying or selling gold for real life money. It's part and parcel of human nature to fervently optimize anything as much as they possibly can, and people will continue to care little enough to get the wallet out so they can play the game that little bit less. I expect it to some degree, but a relatively moderate one where you can see that effort is being put in to stay on top of it and to maintain the integrity at the heart of the game. Though many of the changes made have been passive ones, which in time may be worked around, and Blizzard and gaming companies do this a lot, by the way, it is considerably cheaper and it's better than nothing. Also, you can...
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, the best way to do this, to fix the botting thing, would probably just be to have GMs, right? Having GMs running around and like finding the bots, spanning them, having people like report them, and having it actually be a system where you could do that. But it's just more expensive, right? And it's about saving money, right? Because they don't want to have like a bunch of full-time GMs being on payroll to stop bots. They would rather just have like an automated system or like implement some sort of thing that could like combat the bots a little bit, right? So yeah.
Can now report players via the /who function. This is a new-ish feature in Classic. Before that, you had to whisper somebody and then report them after. This gives players a better ability to report should somebody not be directly in front of them. In terms of recognizing bots, they're very similar to how they've always been. They often use click to move, so they're going to make very sharp turns, little to no strafing or turning. They're going to be absolutely decked out and bind on equipped gear. They are not playing the game and questing like you are. They're grinding in obscure locations. Try a /who with Feral.
He had a Ceylon blade, by the way, that bot. That is ridiculous.
Sorashara and see what you can find, for example. Typically, they don't have guilds, but some of them just accept any old invites to make them look that little bit more believable. The majority of the bots I've seen so far on Seasonal Mastery have been rogues or hunters, mages. At this point in time, at least, don't appear to be quite as popular. I believe the hunters are being set up for Diamond tribute runs or just standard mob farming. As for rogues, I'm not entirely sure really. There are just better classes for mindlessly farming. Because with a thief debuff and BRD, they aren't going to be doing that anymore. Mages aren't going to be able to do Mara or Strat anymore.
This is also a little bit sad. You know, for the actual rogue players who liked farming gold this way, this kind of sucks, right? A little bit. It's like, you know, this was a good gold farm for rogues. You could make like 30, 40 gold an hour, right? It's not bad. And it was very cozy to do. You go into BRD, you pickpocket, bing, bong, bang, you know, sell at the end, kill the vendor maybe, that's it, right? And reset. But, you know, now you can't do that anymore because of the fix, right?
The mobs gain eventual immunities to roots and slows and then gain additional...
Yeah, it was actually like a good farm. It was a fun farm to do too. That's how I farmed my gold in Phase 1 of Classic.
Movement speed, so that is not going to be happening. And I've heard that the change made to being able to loot items from the chest was made based on a design flaw of clearly the intention wasn't that you should be able to give them out to other players because the items in the chest themselves are soulbound. Josh from Countdown did an interview with Brian Birmingham, team lead on Classic, not so long ago. I'll link it below if you fancy a listen in. And there's 2 points I wanted to mention that he went over on it because they do go quite into detail on how botting looks from Blizzard's end. Brian also talks about the fact that players players see somebody who is botting, they report them, and then weeks or months later, they see that same name crop up again and again.
Yep.
And he says that's because when a player is banned, the name is released, and the botters go back onto it and make another character with the same name. So in one of the clips I'm showing here, there is an absolute infestation of bots in Stranglethorn Vale. This was
crazy.
Quite early on into Season of Mastery. I reported all of these players, and I did receive 4 confirmation mails saying they have been banned. So let's go through all of their names and see if A, they are available for me to take, or B, if I can see them online at the moment. And we'll go through all these in the background now, but the short of it is I went through all of them and none of the names were available and none of them were online either.
Okay. Also,
they mentioned that a 3-day ban for buying gold may be considered too low. I don't know if this
3-day, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I am gonna say something, and maybe you guys won't believe me, but I personally have never bought gold before, okay? I've never ever bought gold. All right, and that's the truth. So, and that's because I'm a firm believer in the point that I made earlier about caring about my investment into my character. I'm not kidding, guys. Like, if I were to just go here, spend $100 or $50 or however much, $20, and then buy some gold for my character, it just, the character would kind of lose its purpose, right? Because like, then it's like, well, I haven't really achieved that, you know, in the game. It's just something I've took for my real life and put into the game, right? It ruins a little bit of the journey and a little bit of the point in the whole MMO experience, you know? That, for me, that's how it is, right? Why buy gold when you get gifted gold? Well, that's a completely different story, okay? Obviously, because of that's because of relationships within the game. So yeah.
This has already been extended, but it would be good to have a bit more than a slap on the wrist for doing something like this. Yeah. Buyers are a problem just as much as sellers. So overall, I'd say there is less spotting and it is less impactful because there are just less people playing than Classic and less people raiding on top of that, so less demand for consumables. Consumables are easier to acquire, so the burden of farming gold has been diminished. Yeah. We have more gold farms available for players from day one. Players also seem more casual by and large, with less hardcore attitudes to progression. As a result, gold sellers are less frequent and there just is not as much in demand. I don't think you're going to see anything too unreasonable until GDKP start appearing and somebody starts dropping 20k on an onslaught girdle or a bone.
They already have started, by the way. I've been looking into some Discords. I usually, I was in for like gold DKP whenever I did that in Classic and in TBC. There is already gold DKPs in SoM. Like they're already running like Oni runs, MC runs, and everything like that. It's already happening.
Yeah. Reaver's Edge. To me, they will always be the end game of real money trading. And yes, everybody interacts with RMT to a degree due to the nature of how gold is traded, but you don't go to buy a stack of Dreamfoil from the auction house and some swiper decides to bid you up to 50 gold for the stack. Prices on the auction house are mediated by people who actually earn their
Kroll played 400 gold.
Own gold and understand the value and time that went into earning it. Also, it involves every single player on the server, not the handful
gold
of bidders for whatever.
I feel like gold DKP would be fine if you could like guarantee it wasn't bought gold, but there's just 0% chance that you can guarantee that, right? It's not happening, right? Because the majority of the gold in gold TKP probably is bought gold, right? So it's, you know,
whatever item it may be, dependent on RNG drops. So there we go. Botters, real money trading, gold buying, gold selling, far from gone. But I mean, come on, real money trading on a seasonal server? You have to be kidding me. It's not as bad as it was, but definitely still exists. Let me know if you've seen anything too bad in your experience and how things have been going on your server. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you on the next one very soon.
Well, there it is. I'll link the video in the chat, boys, if you guys want to give it a little thumbs up for WillE. Very, very good boy. But it's yeah, I guess he made the point as well on the end, right? Like, why would you do that on a seasonal server? Like, it's crazy to think about it, right? But like, SoM, Seasonal Mastery, is already like 15% done. 20, maybe not 20%, but like it's already like pretty far in, right? Because it's supposed to be a year cycle, and we've had it for like 2 months now, I think. So like, Blackwing Lair should come out very soon, and you know, it's gonna be very, very fast the way that it goes through, right?